Hey guys, welcome back. So this is part 2 of my keto video. In this video I'm going to basically discuss everything that I eat, how I meal prep, how I do keto with the family and things like that. So just a quick recap, what keto is high fat, low carbs, moderate protein. So for me personally, I keep all my carbs under 20 net carbs. The closer to 15, the better. So on days that I do intermittent fasting and not OMAD, remember intermittent fasting is when you eat in a small window, and OMAD is when you eat one meal a day. So when I do intermittent fasting, and which means I do lunch and then I'll do dinner, I tend to have a higher carb count because you're spreading your carbs through 2 meals. When I do OMAD, I have way less carbs. So for me, once I lost all of the weight, we're going to talk about food in a minute. Once I lost all the weight and I was in what's called maintenance mode, no longer losing weight, just maintaining, my body got to a point where it just wasn't going to lose any more physical pounds on the scale. Like I said, my body's still changing because I've been exercising, but we'll talk about that at the end. Once I got to the point where I was basically in maintenance mode, I started incorporating back into my diet cheat meals. In the beginning, it was just a cheat meal, like one cheat meal a week. And then eventually, my body would bounce right back when I would go back the next day because my body's fully fat adapted, which means it wants to run off of fat. It doesn't want to run off of the carbs. I would jump back in the next day and I would, jump right back into ketosis. It'd be fine. And then little by little, that cheat meal would become a cheat day. Because by that point, when you eat carbs greater than whatever it is that keeps you in ketosis, 20, 25, whatever it is for your body personally, you're already out of ketosis, so it really doesn't matter how many carbs you consume. So because you're already out of ketosis. So that cheat meal would become a cheat day. So I would have one cheat day a week, and I was fine, never gained weight, nothing. And then little by little, I started having 2 cheat days a week. I would try to spread them out, 3-4 days in between, so that I would kind of have, space to get rid of, the extra sugar, carbs, whatever. And then, this went on for a while, and I wasn't gaining weight, but I was starting to feel sluggish again. I was starting to feel tired. My headaches were starting to come back. So that's when I said, okay, I need to stop this and I need to get back. So for the last 2 weeks now, I started getting back into strict intermittent fasting, but trying to do more OMAD, so 1 meal a day. So I've been pretty successful. Most of the days I'm doing just OMAD. Some days, if I'm hungry, that's the thing with intermittent fasting OMAD. A lot of times you're just not hungry. If I'm hungry, you have to listen to your body. If I'm hungry, then yes, I'm going to eat. And so OMAD becomes intermittent fasting, and so I'll have lunch. So let's talk about food, and then I'll talk about how I kind of do intermittent fasting and OMAD, what I would eat when I'm, depending on what I'm doing. Okay, so for foods. For me, there's different ways of doing keto. There's strict keto, where the keto snobs will tell you can't have anything that is going to cause an insulin response in your body. No grains, no sugar alcohols, which we'll talk about. Nothing that's going to cause an insulin reaction, regardless of how many keeping it under 20 carbs. It's about exactly what you eat. So that's strict keto. Most people don't do that, except for the extreme hardcore health nuts. And we call them the keto police. They try to tell everyone else, well, that's not keto, you can't do that. Well, it's keto for me. So, and then there's clean keto, which is where you're eating healthy, you're eating fresh vegetables, meat, you're trying not to eat a lot of processed stuff, even if it is under your carb allotment. And then there's dirty keto. Dirty keto is when you eat whatever you want as long as it's low carb. So you're eating a lot of processed crap, you're eating a lot of bacon, which is fine, you can eat bacon, but you're just eating bacon, you're eating processed, microwaved garbage it's made for keto, it's low carb. Just lots of unhealthy food, which yes, you're still going to lose weight. Keto, you will lose weight on dirty keto. but it's not healthy. You're not getting the vitamins, you're not getting the nutrition that you need. So yes, all three of these types of keto, you will lose weight and it'll work for you. So you need to find a balance of what kind of keto you want to be. For me, I try to do 80% clean keto and then probably like 75 to 80% and then 15 to 20% dirty keto. Because I do like to have my snacks, my low carb keto snacks. I eat sugar alcohols and things like that. So sugar alcohols are when your food is sweetened with sugar alcohols. The different sugar alcohols that there's stevia, there's erythritol. Those are the two that are the best. If you're going to eat sugar alcohols, you should limit them to stevia and erythritol. They have the least amount of reaction to your insulin. They cause the least insulin reaction, glycemic reaction to your body. There's malitol, which you absolutely should stay away from. One's called, I believe it's called sorbitol. I think it's called sorbitol. Malitol, sorbitol, you should absolutely stay away from. So for me, I try to consume erythritol and stevia. Some things will have malitol in it, and I'll eat it, and it's okay. But I try to stay away from those. So sugar alcohols, they kind of fall under like the dirty keto because it's not really that beneficial for you. It's not healthy. You're eating sugar, even though it's sugar alcohol. So it's kind of creating those cravings again for you. So like I said, I try to do mostly clean keto. So I eat a lot of meats, a lot of vegetables. So vegetables that I eat every single day with my meals. Celery, broccoli, spinach, which is a superfood. You should eat lots of spinach. Mushrooms, I eat mushrooms every day. And I eat avocados every single day. So those are the ones that I eat every single day. Other vegetables that I eat, but not every single day, but I'll throw them in, that are good for keto. Cauliflower, eggplant, asparagus, peppers. I like to eat peppers. Brussels sprouts are really good. Vegetables that you should avoid that have a lot of carbs in them. Corn, carrots, they have a lot of carbs in them. Tomatoes have carbs. You can eat tomatoes. There are some people that will eat tomatoes, but you just have to be aware that they do have more carbs. So you have to be careful what you're eating. Onions have a lot of carbs. Fruit is off limits. No bananas, no apples, nothing like that. The only fruits that are acceptable on keto are berries. So blueberries are okay. They do have higher carbs. Blackberries, I only eat blackberries. I stick to blackberries, occasionally blueberries, but I stick to blackberries. Raspberries and strawberries. They have less carbs, and they also have a less glycemic response. So they don't trigger the insulin response as much as other fruits. Okay, so for me, I eat meat. I eat a lot of meat. A lot of fatty cheeses. I love cheese. Thank God you can eat cheese on keto because I love cheese. Heavy cream, that's what I use to flavor my food. We'll talk about that. A lot of eggs, a lot of nuts. For me, what my dirty keto is, I like to buy the pepperoni sticks, and it's called summer sausage, a sausage stick, and I cut those up, and I like to eat those. Those are like my snacks. So yes, it's kind of more like, processed food is not as healthy, but I like to eat that. Low carb tortillas, I get them in Walmart now, Publix. A lot of places now are finally getting on board with keto, so you're finding a lot of low carb options. The keto police will tell you can eat tortillas, even if they're low carb. They're only 5 carbs per tortilla because, it's triggering, whatever. For me personally, this is how I do keto, and I've obviously been successful. I've kept the weight off for over a year. There's 0 carb bread now that you can eat. For like my sweet tooth, I like Russell Stover's chocolate with stevia. So it's no carb and it's sweetened with stevia, which is a sugar alcohol. So you minus the sugar alcohol from the total carb, and you end up with like 1 or 2 net carbs. There's low carb ice cream now. Halo Top is good. You can find it readily in like Publix, Walmart. I prefer Rebel. Rebel is my new favorite keto ice cream. So again, that's dirty keto. by eating these sweets. Oh, my husband and son are about to walk in the door. Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, sorry. So a lot of people, if you're eating these low carb sweet alternatives, the cravings are never going to go away. You're always going to have these cravings to want to eat these sweets. In the beginning, when you're first doing keto, I definitely recommend not eating these low carb alternatives like these low carb treats and ice creams, because in the beginning you really do need to train your body to just let go of all these cravings. For me personally, so one of the questions is, should you avoid sugar, carb alternatives altogether? For me personally, to make this a sustainable, to make this a sustainable lifestyle, I need these alternatives. I need to be able to eat low carb tortillas, when I want to have tacos with my family. I want to have the low carb chocolate. I want to be able to have ice cream occasionally if I want to. Most of the time, I eat so many vegetables. I eat so healthy. I'm eating, clean. But you know what? To sustain for the rest of my life, this is my life we're talking about. It has to be enjoyable. You have to enjoy what you're eating. If you're constantly miserable because you're always just wanting that piece of bread or wanting that treat, you're going to go off the rail and you're going to end up just falling off of your lifestyle, and you're going to go back to the carbs. By having these low carb alternatives, I personally feel like it has made me able to sustain this lifestyle, this diet, whatever you want to call it. Most keto people will call it a lifestyle, not a diet. And so it's what's made it sustainable for me. And I truly do enjoy eating vegetables and meats and eating healthy. But at the same time, I do want to, I'm human. I had 36 years of eating garbage, and I still want to eat garbage sometimes, but I want the low carb option that's going to keep me in ketosis. So that's another thing. Some people, like the snobs, the keto snobs, will tell you that you can't have these sugar alcohols. Some people, their bodies, they really can't tolerate these sugar alcohols. They're not going to lose weight. So if you're doing keto and you start noticing you're eating all these, sugar alcohols and things like that, which stevia, mannitol, erythritol, sorbitol, whatever, your sugar alcohol is, and you're noticing that you're not losing weight, or that you're feeling bloated and that you're just feeling sluggish, it could be that you're just eating too many sugar alcohols. My body reacts fine to sugar alcohols, particularly erythritol and stevia. Those ones make me feel the best. In the beginning, once I started incorporating the sugar alcohols, I started drinking Diet Coke, because before I went keto, or Diet Dr. Pepper, before I went keto, my only vice that I've ever had is drinking soda. I don't smoke alcohol. I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, no drugs, nothing. But I was drinking soda heavily all the time. So once I got, started losing weight and, started slowly incorporating the sugar alcohols things, I started drinking Diet Dr. Pepper. And Diet Dr. Pepper has erythritol in it, aspartame in it, which, everyone says is terrible and, it's not good for you. And it is true, it's not good for you. And studies show that, can cause cancer, things like that. And I just was feeling bloated. And even though there's no carbs in it, I just was feeling bloated. So for me, I couldn't drink Diet. And then one day I tried Coke Zero, and it was fine. So even though it's made with aspartame as well, it has a different response to my body, and I don't have bloating. I don't feel disgusting when I eat it. So now I drink Coke Zero, Pepsi Zero, whatever. Okay, so let's talk about food, how I prep. So I do most of my shopping for me when I'm buying for myself. I do my bulk shopping. I go to BJ's and I get all my bulk meats that are for me. So my pepperoni, my summer sausage that I told you I like to use, chorizo. I love chorizo. It comes in giant pack chorizo. I get my big blocks of cheese. I get all that from BJ's. And then every week at the store, every week and a half, whatever I need, I go to Publix. I get my heavy cream. I get all my vegetables, any of my low carb alternatives that I'm running low on that I need, like my, chocolate or, my ice cream if I run out, whatever. I'll get all that at Publix. So, and then when I go to BJ's, so when I get home, I'll take all my bulk stuff that I have. I like to get from BJ's. They have these sausage. They come not the summer sausage, like the big stick of sausage I slice up, but like actual sausage, big sausage links. They have, what is it called? It's like apple, basil, and tomato, something like that. They're so good. I love them. So I'll come home, I'll take all my meats, all my cheese. I cut up all my cheese and I put them into individual snack size bags. I fill them up. So I'll have like all my cheese into these snack bags, and then I take out all the meat and I divide it into single servings, put them in the snack bags, and then I have a big freezer bag labeled just cheese, and I put all my little snack bags of cheese in my big bag of cheese. And then all my meats, like my summer sausage and pepperoni, I put it in a bag specifically with pepperoni, whatever, and all my meats. And then I have like bags for like chicken. So anytime, with my family, if we have leftover chicken, I'll cut it up and freeze it, and then that goes into my keto section of our freezer. And so then I have a keto basket that I keep in the fridge, and it has all my stuff that I need throughout the week. So every week I will take out, frozen cheese. It has a bag of my cut up cheese. I'll put that in my keto basket. I'll take out some meats, make sure I have pepperoni, my summer sausage. I keep that in my keto basket. And then every week, throughout the week, I pull not my vegetables and everything go in the vegetable bin, but this is just my basket of basically my meat and cheese. That's so funny, my basket of meat and cheese. And I pull from that every week, and that's, how I cook. And then when my basket gets empty, I pull more stuff out of the freezer. So that's how I meal prep. Other than that, I really don't do any meal prepping. And then in the pantry, I have my section where I have like all my nuts, my low carb, like cheese whips, things like that, like tuna fish, things like that I keep in the pantry. So for me, if it's an intermittent fasting day and it's not OMAD, so I'm eating lunch and I'm eating dinner, I don't like to eat two big meals. So my lunch is usually just light things, like light snack type foods. So I'll grab a handful of nuts, I'll grab a handful of my cut up cheese, I'll grab a hard-boiled egg, I'll slice up half an avocado, some blackberries, whatever. And that will be my lunch. And then for dinner, if I'm cooking for myself, like on nights that I work, I'm eating at 4 in the afternoon and then going to work. My family's not going to be eating at 4 in the afternoon. So on days that I'm just cooking for myself, if I'm making like a big meal. So for work, I always cook the same thing for work. So I'll explain my work meals and then like other types of meals I eat. So my main go-to meal, that's not my snack meal, like my actual cooking meal. I take all my vegetables, I throw them into a frying pan. I take my meat, whatever meat, my chorizo, cut up sausage, leftover chicken, whatever it is. I throw my meat, frozen chicken. I buy the bags of the pre-cooked frozen chicken, Tyson. So again, that's not 100% clean, but it's how I do my keto. Throw my meat, I throw it into a frying pan with MCT oil. MCT oil is like a coconut oil, medium chain triglycerides. That's what MCT stands for. But it has more of those chain triglycerides than coconut oil does. So MCT oil is extremely beneficial for keto, gets you into ketosis, keeps you in ketosis, has a good amount of fat. So really quickly, good oils for keto: MCT oil, coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil. Those are really healthy fatty oils. MCT oil, throw that into a frying pan. I'll add my salt if I need to. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of beef broth, and then I let it cook. The beef broth helps steam the vegetables and helps things cook better and adds some like a salty flavor. And then I will throw in my heavy cream, and I will throw in whatever cheese I have, my cube cheese. Sometimes I'll just do shredded cheese if I'm out of didn't defrost the cube cheese time. Mix that all up. It makes like a heavy creamy sauce, and then I take that and I have a bowl of spinach. I put it in the bowl of spinach, on top of the bowl of spinach, and then I'll cut up avocado and put that on top. And that's my meal. That's my main go-to meal that I cook. I'm never bored of it. I love it. I eat it every day. Like I said, those vegetables that I eat in that meal every single day: celery, mushrooms, spinach, broccoli. The meat changes. Sometimes the cheese will change. I'll switch it up and I'll get like a fancy cheese. I love adding pesto. I have pesto sauce that I buy, and I'll add in pesto, and it's delicious. I love it. Sometimes I'll add like half of a low carb tortilla. It's like the full tortilla would be like 6 carbs, so I do half. It's like 3 net carbs. Other meals that I do for myself. I think I wrote it down. Let me see. Yes, so different meals that I would do for myself. Veggies and meat in the frying pan, add the cheese. I cook eggs, and I'll have nuts, meats, cheese, and berries. The snack meal that I told you about. I'll make myself low-carb pancakes with my mini pancake maker. I make what's called a chaffle now. This is this thing that's running like all over the internet, where you basically just scramble up an egg, add in your meat, whatever, and you put it in the waffle maker, and it makes like kind of like a thin egg waffle. They're pretty good. They're a lot of people are using them to substitute for bread. I've now discovered 0 net carb bread at Aldi's, so sometimes I'll make an egg sandwich with avocado. Those are the main meals that I like to eat. Or like when I have the eggs, I'll make salmon. I'll have salmon and eggs, sausage and eggs, bacon and eggs, whatever. For drinks, I will have lots and lots and lots and lots of water. I drink at least 2 liters of water a day. Hot tea. Sometimes I'll drink coffee. You can do what's called bulletproof coffees, where you have your coffee, you add in, some people add butter, some people add coconut oil, and then you add your heavy cream and then your sugar, alcohol, like your stevia or whatever. I do that. I don't do the bulletproof. I don't like to add the coconut butter. I think it's disgusting. Occasionally I will have coffee with heavy cream, and then I'll just add my stevia. But most of the time I prefer to drink hot tea. Coke Zero, I drink Coke Zero regularly. I'm not gonna lie, I drink regular Coke Zero every day. I'm now into these Bai drinks, B-A-I. It's like like a fruity concoction, 0 carb drinks, and I love to add heavy cream and put in a cup of ice, and it's delicious. So that's what I drink. So on days that I'm cooking and eating with my whole family, it's pretty simple, to be honest. I make the meat. I'll cook whatever meat we're having, chicken, steak, sausage, whatever. I make them their side. If it's pasta, if it's mashed potatoes, canned vegetable, whatever. And then I'll just make myself in a small frying pan, just a side. I'll just fry up some broccoli, some spinach, whatever. So then rather than eating rice or potatoes, I'll eat my little side of vegetables, and then I'll have whatever meat, the rest of the family's having. Sometimes I will just take the meat and I will just turn it into a salad, whatever. It's pretty easy. A lot of times, if like my family's having pizza, things like that, I just will cook my own meal, but it's not that complicated to adjust. I think that's about it for food. I want to answer a lot of questions that I had people asking on Instagram. Question 1, can it be started and maintained without being fatty or unrealistic or costing too much? Yes, absolutely. For me, the cost is just buying fresh vegetables, fresh, meat. It doesn't get expensive. I'm no longer eating out every single day. A lot of times if I'm doing OMAD, I'm not going out and eating out at lunch at all. So even if I go out, to run errands, I'm not eating out, so I'm spending way less money. I'm not eating junk at work. I'm not eating expensive cafeteria food at work. Occasionally, when I leave work, if I've had like a rough 2 nights and I want to eat, I will get breakfast, which then I'm not even doing intermittent fasting. I'm just straight up eating. But for the most part, I'm spending way less money because I'm not eating out all the time. I'm not eating unrealistic. Like you're just eating healthy foods. So for me, it isn't fatty, because fatty, not fatty, like a fad. You're just eating like everyone else. You're just eating different foods. For me, it's not unrealistic. For me, it's very sustainable. It's easy. Can we adopt to our everyday life? Yes. I see dairy. So I think maybe she's referring to the fact that I eat cheese and heavy cream. Yes, cheese is very high fat. It's very healthy fat, so it's very, very good for keto. Milk, no. Milk has a lot of carbs. Heavy cream, yes. Yogurt can have a lot of carbs, so you have to be careful with that. But dairy, yes, unless you're strict vegan. That's a whole different story. How do you manage your schedule with intermittent fasting and OMAD? How do you meal prep? I talked about that, to accommodate different days. So on days that I work nights, so I sleep all day, so that's easy. Like, I'm not eating breakfast, I'm not eating lunch. I wake up around 3, I shower, get ready, and then around 4, I eat my meal. So this is my OMAD meal. And then at work, I eat a big meal. Like, it's the only meal I'm eating. I'm making sure it's a lot of fat, and then it's gonna fuel me to get through the night. And then at work, I will bring a keto shake. I use, what's it called? Ketology. I'll post a picture at the end of different foods that I'm talking about. I'll do a lot of different pictures at the end. I believe it's called Ketology. And I take a little blender cup, and I take that to work, and I add water to it, and basically just makes, like, it's a meal replacement, but it's 0 net carbs. So I will drink that when I'm at work. Instead of like eating, I'll drink that, and then that's OMAD. And then on my days off, I just am conscious when I wake up. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat. And then whether or not I'm hungry is whether or not it's going to be intermittent fasting or OMAD. I listen to my body. If I'm just like starving, a lot of times if you start to get the hunger pains and you ignore it, they will go away. So a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do OMAD, I'm hungry. But if you ignore it, eventually it'll go away, and then you're not even hungry anymore. So like I said, I listen to my body. If those hunger pains just don't go away, I do intermittent fasting. If they go away and I'm not hungry, I do OMAD. Silly Moosey Nails is curious about the science. Is it only for diabetes? I talked about that in the first video. No, there's a lot of health benefits. So if you haven't watched the first part, go watch the first part. It's not just for diabetes. There's multiple health benefits, and I personally have seen some of those benefits. Keto as a vegetarian. Yes, you can do it. I think it's harder because you're not eating that meat, you're not getting the protein, so you have to replace that protein in other ways. So you're gonna have to eat a lot more eggs, a lot more veggies. If you're vegetarian and not strict vegan, then you know you can eat a lot of cheese and things like that. So you got to make up those proteins. How you do it, you know, is going to be up to you. Eggs do have a lot of protein, so you know, you can incorporate protein drinks to kind of amp up your protein. Definitely want to incorporate multivitamins. Make sure that you're getting enough nutrition if you're not eating, especially if you're like strict vegan and you're not eating like the cheeses and things like that. Full fat yogurts, lots of more fruits like berries and things like that. Nuts and seeds for any vegetarian is important. You can eat tofu, legumes. Chia seeds have a lot of fiber in them, so they're really good for vegetarians. A lot of oils to make up for fats, and like I said, vitamins. Did you have leg cramps? No. I did suffer keto flu for a couple days, like briefly. But leg cramps would come from, if you're not getting enough potassium, you'll get leg cramps. So you need to make sure you're eating enough potassium. Avocados are high in potassium. There's more potassium in avocados than bananas. But for some reason, when people say, you know, oh, potassium, eat a banana, eat an avocado. Definitely want to, like I said, add that Himalayan salt to help make sure that you're getting your electrolytes. How do you know if you're in ketosis? There's different ways. Like, you can listen to your body. A lot of people just know they're in ketosis based on how they feel. If you're starting to feel sluggish and just, you know, you've been eating too many carbs, you know you're not in ketosis. There's urine strips. Urine strips are not as accurate as blood strips. In the beginning, I never tested at all. I just, you know, I'm eating. I'm keeping my carbs under 20. I know I'm eventually going to get into ketosis. And once I start losing the weight, I know I'm in ketosis. But then one day I had someone tell me, you're not in ketosis because you're not losing weight fast enough. And I was like, I'm absolutely in ketosis. I've been doing strict keto, no carbs for 2 months now. I'm absolutely in ketosis. And he tried convincing me that I wasn't. And so I went online, I bought a blood strip, and ketone levels, I forget what they should be. I think it should be between 0.5 and 2.5 or 1 and 2.5, something like that. And if you're in that range, you're in ketosis. And I was like 2.3, so I was hardcore in ketosis. But anyway, so to know that you're in ketosis is you can listen to how your body feels. You can use the urine strips, which aren't as accurate, because basically urine strips are just testing the ketones that you're excreting, the waste. You're not actually testing what's in your body, so they're not accurate. But you can do blood strips. How to calculate macros, fat, protein, and for fat, protein, and vegetables. Like I said in the beginning, I use that app, Stupid Simple Keto. Constantly look up. You need to learn how many carbs are in vegetables, what vegetables have what carbs, how much cheese. Once you learn, then it's a lot easier to calculate what you're eating, like how many carbs you're eating. For me, I eat the same meals, the same types of meals over and over, so I know I'm always within that same range of carbs. How do I trust labels? Really, you can't. It's like anything else. You have to just, unless you're a scientist and you have a lab and you're measuring and calculating things, you can't. You just have to listen to your body. If something tells you that it's fat-free, like carbs, I mean, on keto you need the fat, but I'm just saying, like in general, like if you're on a fat-free diet or whatever, and something says fat-free and that's all you're eating, but you're still gaining weight, then obviously you need to take into consideration that maybe it's not fat-free. So you just need to listen to your body. If you start to feel differently, you're eating something new and it says it's low carb, but then you're starting to gain weight or whatever, then you just have to listen to your body. That's the only thing I can really suggest. Veggies and meat. Oh, those are my meals. I think, okay, so those were all the questions. All right, guys, so I think I covered everything. These are 2 very long videos. I hope I covered anything. If you guys have any other questions, leave them in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. I covered a lot. If I didn't, I apologize. Like I said, if you have questions, leave them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.